Somewhere in the near future, a single ship leaves orbit carrying one sealed cargo container. Inside, it is a slab of metal, roughly the size of a car, and that one slab is worth more than the annual economy of a small country. It did not come from any mine on Earth. It was pulled from the void of space by machines that never sleep. And the company that owns it is about to become more powerful than most governments alive today. This is not a story about rockets. It is a story about what happens after the rockets succeed. Because the moment humanity learns to pull raw wealth out of Mars and the asteroids, a new kind of world quietly begins. One split into two classes that may never truly touch. Let me show you how that world could be built. For all of human history, wealth has come out of the ground beneath our feet. Gold, oil, copper, rare earth metals. Whoever controlled the richest land controlled the future. And that land was always here, on Earth, where in theory anyone could reach it. Space breaks that rule completely. The raw materials floating around our solar system are almost impossible to imagine. A single metallic asteroid can hold more platinum, nickel, and iron than has ever been mined in all of human history. Some contain precious metals worth quadrillions of dollars on paper. There is an asteroid called Psyche, made largely of metal, that carries a theoretical value so enormous the number simply stops meaning anything to a human brain. NASA has even sent a probe to study it up close. On the Moon, and potentially on Mars, there are other prizes entirely. Helium-3, a rare isotope that could one day fuel advanced fusion reactors and unlock almost limitless clean energy. Water ice that can be split into breathable oxygen and rocket fuel. And Mars itself may hold vast mineral deposits, locked away in a place no human economy has ever been able to reach. For a certain kind of thinker, this sounds like paradise. Infinite resources, the end of scarcity, enough raw material to lift all of humanity into abundance. But that is not how resources have ever worked. Here is the problem. Getting to those riches requires the single most expensive infrastructure ever conceived. Reusable heavy rockets, orbital refueling depots, fleets of autonomous mining robots, deep space logistics chains stretching across the solar system, refineries and factories that can operate for years, millions of miles from the nearest human help. The price tag for all of that runs into the hundreds of billions, and possibly the trillions, before a single gram of profit ever comes back to Earth. And only a tiny handful of players on Earth can even dream of affording it. A few mega corporations with deeper pockets than entire nations. A few of the wealthiest national governments. That is the entire list. Everyone else is simply a spectator, which leads to the first act of this new world. The rise of a resource monopoly unlike anything in history. When those trillions of dollars in space minerals start flowing, they will not belong to humanity. They will belong to whoever built the machines to reach them first. 3 or 4 entities controlling the richest supply of raw material in the history of our species, with no competitors able to follow. On Earth, a monopoly can eventually be challenged. A rival can raise money, build a factory, and enter the market. But how do you challenge a monopoly when the barrier to entry is owning a fleet of spacecraft, an orbital fuel network, and a mining base on another world? You do not. The gap simply becomes permanent. A two-class system, not between rich and poor people, but between those who own the space economy and everyone who does not. And unlike the fortunes of the past, this one would sit physically out of reach, protected by millions of miles of empty space. That brings us to the second act. What this does to Earth itself. Today, entire nations are built on the resources beneath them. Countries that export metals, minerals, and fuel depend on the world needing what they dig up. Their economies, their jobs, their stability, all rest on being a source of raw material. Now imagine that space suddenly offers those same materials in almost unlimited supply, mined by machines that never demand wages. The value of Earth's mines could begin to collapse. Not overnight, but steadily, as space-based supply grows year after year. Some economists warn that resource-exporting nations could face severe destabilization, their main source of income quietly undercut by material falling from the sky. Whole industries that took a century to build could be devalued in a single generation. Millions of jobs tied to the ground could simply lose their reason to exist. The wealth would not vanish. It would move away from the nations that dig and toward the corporations that mine the heavens. And that leads to the third act, the quietest and perhaps the most dangerous of all. The brain drain. Where the money goes, the talent follows. The brightest engineers, the sharpest scientists, the boldest investors, all of them chase the frontier where fortunes are made. If that frontier moves off Earth into orbital logistics and Martian industry, then the greatest minds of a generation may pour their genius into building the space economy rather than solving the problems still waiting on the ground. Clean water, disease, housing, education, the slow, unglamorous work of improving ordinary lives. Why fix a water system when you could be designing the supply chain for an entire planet? The people left behind on Earth's surface would not just lose access to space wealth. They could lose the innovators who might have improved their world. Progress for the everyday citizen could quietly stall while the frontier races ahead without them. Put these three forces together and you begin to see the shape of it. A tiny elite controlling near infinite resources, an Earth economy slowly hollowed out beneath them, and the best of human talent migrating upward, toward the money, toward the stars. This is the rise of the two-class space economy. And the truly unsettling part is that none of it requires villains. No conspiracy, no secret evil plan in a dark room. Just ordinary economics, playing out on a scale that humanity has never once faced before. The same forces that concentrated wealth on Earth, now unleashed across the entire solar system with no natural limit to hold them back. But here is where honesty matters. Because this is only one possible future, not a prophecy. There is another version of this story. In it, the flood of cheap resources from space lifts everyone at once. Rare metals become so abundant that advanced technology gets cheaper for all. Clean fusion fuel ends the energy crisis for good. The endless wealth of the asteroids funds a genuine golden age down here on the surface of Earth. Which future we get may depend entirely on decisions being made right now. On the treaties we write, on who is allowed to own a piece of another world, on whether the resources of space are treated as private property or as a shared inheritance for all of humanity. At the moment, international space law says that no nation can claim a celestial body as its own territory, but it says almost nothing about whether a private company can claim and sell what it digs out of one. That single unanswered question, buried in decades-old treaties, may quietly decide the economic fate of billions of people. So the race to reach Mars and the asteroids is not really about exploration at all. It is about ownership, about who gets to write the rules of the greatest resource rush our species has ever attempted. And the ships that will carry that first priceless cargo home are being designed today, which leaves us with a question worth sitting with. When the wealth of an entire solar system finally comes within reach, will it be shared by all of humanity? Or will it belong only to the very few who got there first? We may not have very long left to decide. If you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. There is a whole universe left to unveil.